I played Alan Wake Remastered on the PlayStation 5. The original Alan Wake released May 14th of 2010. And the remaster released, October 4th of 2021. Wow. So, the remaster, obviously remastered the original game with better lighting and some different controls and what else did it do? Sparkle effects.
Ooh, particles.
Yes, we love sparkles.
Okay, so this is just a basic remaster.
It was a remaster. I could tell that it definitely came out in the PS3 era. It still had some chunky body graphics. They still kind of looked a little bit fudgy. I don't know. It's late and I can't word good. But it was still very nice to look at. The lighting especially was very nice, which is important because as Alan Wake, you are walking through a nightmare sort of with a flashlight and a gun because that makes sense, and you gotta kill the darkness. It's shadow men that chase you with weapons and stuff, and you gotta shine the light at them until they make this boom sound, and then you can shoot them with the revolver, which makes 3 more boom sounds. I'm being kind of goofy right now. It's a mix of this nightmare world and reality, sort of. Weird things happen in reality too, so that leaves you to wonder as the player what is really going on, like the entire game. If it's just a nightmare or if the world really is kind of going crazy. I had this same complaint when I played Control, which was the first game from this creative team. I can't think the name of them. Who is it? Who makes Alan Wake and Control? Remedy games. So both games had me wondering if everything is reality and something weird's happening, or if it's a dream, or what's going on. And turns out in Control, it is reality. And Alan Wake, I'm not so sure what's going on. It's kind of not clear. Alan is a horror book writer, and he's had a bit of a slump lately, so he goes away on a lovely week vacation with his wife to Washington State, up near a state park somewhere, and a whole bunch of weird things happen from there, and he's trying to find his wife.
She never existed.
That's what I thought, honestly.
Don't kid yourself. You're a horror writer. You've never had ass. How long was your playthrough?
Somewhere between 15 and 20 hours, I think. There's 6 chapters. It's interesting that I'm just gonna go right out and assume that they released the levels episodically, which seems like an interesting choice, but it was kind of a fad when this game came out. No
idea.
Telltale games did that for quite a while.
Their next title, Quantum Break, did that.
Yep.
Quantum Break. Derpity derp derp.
Derpity derp.
Derp derp. That game crashed and burned.
I'm pretty sure a couple of other games came out episodically as well. So it was just a fad. I think this collection does a nice job of collecting them together and making the transitions pretty fluid between episodes. Every episode ends with a cool song that had me hanging around. I'm gonna assume they had credits rolling every time because it was the end of the episode, but they didn't have that. They just had the logo of Alan Wake and the cool song play. And the whole story is really detail oriented. There were hints about the story in the songs that I'm talking about, so I would stick around and listen to the songs trying to figure out what the heck was going on. There are pages scattered all over the episode that you have to collect, and it turns out it is the story that you've already written, and you're kind of in a stranger than fiction story where what's happening in the game has already been written in the book that you're collecting the pages out of. I had something else and it's gone now. The controls for this game kind of bothered me. So as Alan Wake, you have the flashlight in your left hand and your weapon of choice in your right. And the game forces you to be peeking over Alan Wake's left shoulder. And I know this is the lamest of complaints, but after having played so many other third-person games, I want to play over the right shoulder. For some reason, it just felt wrong trying to aim with his left shoulder, and I just wanted to be over his right shoulder. But the game literally does not let you. It became a habit for me to click the right stick to switch to his right shoulder, because every single thing I did reverted back to his left shoulder. So if you pick up ammo or batteries or jump or run or step over a rock, literally I tested that. If you take too much of a fall from stepping off of a rock to the ground, it switches back to his left shoulder. And it made me really, really angry. And it's the dumbest little feature. And it makes sense from a design standpoint.
Because you're using the flashlight more often than the gun.
Right. The flashlight is in his left hand, but I don't know. It just did not work for me. And it pissed me off so bad. However, every time it transitioned from the right shoulder to the left shoulder against my will, it was very, very fluid. At first, I was like, wait a minute, I thought I transitioned to his right shoulder. And I would click it again and play for like 15 minutes and be like, wait a second. As you're moving the camera, it would stick to his left shoulder. And like, it was very intentional, but it was hard to notice at first. It was very well done, and it seems, I think it's intentional by the developer, either because that's where his flashlight is, or to maybe be offsetting, because it's so different from everything else that I've ever played, and it is sort of a horror story, so it would kind of make sense to have something a little bit off like that, but it just made me mad. This disc collects the 2 sequel episodes, I guess. You could call them DLC, but the game was released episodically, so I don't really know. 2 bonus levels, and I didn't play those. I started the first one on normal difficulty, and it was very much more difficult than the regular game, and I got annoyed and was done, because I had just played 20 hours of this game in about a week and a half. So I was kind of tired of it. And it was very interesting, very fun. I loved the concept. They made many Stephen King references, and outright references. Not just in the story feeling like Misery and The Shining, and also a little bit of The Fog, but that's not Stephen King. But they outright call him Stephen King many times, so that was very interesting. Apparently the remaster has new secrets to find than the original release of it. I know of 3 QR codes hidden, placed in the game that leads you to hidden videos on YouTube released by the developer. And those are staged in a very similar way to the videos from Control. I didn't really see how the information pertained to Control, but again, I still don't fully understand the story, so I tried to do a whole bunch of research because the developer has teased that there's new stuff in the remaster that pertains to Control and how they're connected and what may be coming down the line from the developer.
Mega crossover. As
the next game, like teases and stuff, but I couldn't find anything.
Alan Wake's quantic dream of Control 2.
Wow.
Electric Boogaloo.
The very end of the last episode ends with a wicked cliffhanger. For those of you not in New England, it ends on a major cliffhanger. And that was when I realized, or finally understood, why there has been such an outcry for Alan Wake 2. Because the story seemed mostly wrapped up. I didn't completely understand it, but it felt self-contained until he was like, this is just a drop in an ocean. And then that's the end of the story. It's like, well, you can't really do that and then not make an Alan Wake game for 20 years. But look at them now.
Yeah, now they're making a full-blown spooky game.
I got the PS5 version. It's $30 used from GameStop, and I got it for $25. I would say worth it for $25, maybe $20. I did not enjoy this game as much as I loved Control, but that's because there's like almost 10 years difference between those two games. So if you love Control and need more like it, I would suggest picking up Alan Wake, especially the remastered version, because it's pretty.
Spooky.
It is spooky.
I like spooky games. I like mildly spooky games.
Yeah, and this one was mildly spooky. There were some jump scares, but it wasn't like cheating. It was, I wouldn't go that far. It wasn't classic jump scares. It was like, oh, they spawned in bad guys behind me, and now I'm dead.
Oh,